Gentlemen, welcome back. It is I Dread a Bread. We're doing the Warhammer preview show. So far, we've done the Sisters of Battle, and I have to say, it's been a letdown. I will say this: I am a fan of the hobby, painting the miniatures, reading the lore, the books, playing the games. I am not I was going to say a hobbit. I am not a fan of GW and their tactics of what they're doing, blocking people on Twitter for asking questions about female custodians. I'm not a fan of the fake fan base coming in, trying to ruin everything, claiming to be warriors of virtue, diversity, and everything else, while sending women death threats for pretty much pointing out that female custodians have never existed in the lore. I will say this: if you do have the ability to print your own models, print your own models. If you still like Warhammer, just buy your models used. There's plenty of used ones out there you can get on eBay. If you don't want to buy them new, don't buy directly from GW. If the hobby does go under, we will still own the hobby because we will still have the rule books, we will still have the miniatures, and no one will be able to take that away from us. So let's get into it. Let us go to this watch party. So far, like I said, it hasn't been good. For those of you who are new, I do mute the videos and stuff because I don't want ID claims. I've gotten ID claims from Korea before, from some like weird nerdy like Vogue magazine. I've gotten music claims from South America and all sorts of stuff. So let's get into it. Alright, it looks like we have some Genestealers. Warhammer. 40,000. Yep, we've got some Genestealers, some older models. Very nice, very nice. Meet the brains behind the operation. Oh! What is this? What is this model? She's got a big old brain, chat. She's got a big gross brain. Benefictus. Alrighty. Older models. Alrighty. So these guys are old. These guys are old. The only new model is her. Praise the formed emperor.
When you thought one.
Alright, before we go into this, I did read a bunch of the chat that was off screen for this. Ooh, the Genestealer cult people were not happy. We're not happy that it was only one model, and the other models you can get, you have to basically buy and get for Kill Team, but they're probably not going to have rules in the codex for them.
Codex was enough. The Genestealer cults emerged from out of the shadows to reveal one and a Battle Force box too. We're back with Stu and Josh from the Warhammer studio to talk all things Genestealer cults. Guys, welcome back.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Let's jump straight back in and chat about the Genestealer cults codex. What can players experience with this one?
So it's a super fun codex. I think it's got some of the most interesting kind of rules mechanics and things in it, I think, with the kind of cult ambush and the way that works is super interesting.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most unique army rules in the game at the moment. So units popping up, then you think you finally dealt with them as an opponent, and they come back again.
I do like this model. He's very ugly. Very, very gross. He's got another gross guy behind him, and he's got his little ego friend behind him. It's like, hello.
It's for a new challenge, definitely.
Yeah, we really wanted to kind of capture that feeling of like a guerrilla war. You know, so your opponents kind of stumbled into this plot that the Genestealer cultists have been working on for eons, that suddenly comes to fruition. So really trying to capture that both in terms of the kind of background of the book, all the artwork and stuff, but also really importantly with your toy soldiers on the tabletop.
This guy just wants to give you a hug, chat. He's like, yes, give me a hug. La, 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 la. I do like these models. They're pretty good. I don't know if these are the new Genestealer models or if these are the old ones.
Trying to give it that kind of guerrilla warfare feel.
Yeah, nice. And with the codex, there's a couple of new detachments as well. Can you talk us through some of those?
Yeah, so over to you, Josh.
Yeah, so there's 5 detachments in the new book. So again, if you love how your current index plays, there is and one of the detachments still fits that theme and will let you continue to enjoy how you play. But what we've also tried to give you is a wide variety of units that you can now use in different ways. So be that you really like the bikes and you want to play like an outrider force and you're sort of circling around your opponent, you want to focus on combat heavy and hitting really hard with aberrants. And
I do love me the aberrants. I think the aberrants are really, really cool. The biker models, they're okay. They're nothing special.
Pure strain Genestealers, you want to swarm over your opponent with hybrids and again drag them down in combat. There's that. There's lots of different ways to play in the new book.
Nice.
I think one of my favourites is the Brood Brothers.
Yeah.
So where you're kind of Genestealer cult of kind of.
These guys right here, unfortunately, you can only get those through Kill Team, which sucks. But this guy's going to talk about how you can kit bash them later, but it just, I wish they would come out with a wide variety of different things you can do with your Imperial Guard, because it would be nice to see Imperial Guard that also comes with Genestealer bits that you can kit bash with, and maybe some other parts to make it so like it looks like they become Traitor Guardsmen. That'd be very cool. That'd be very nice. But with GW in its current state and lacking some pretty much needed creativity and productivity, I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. Not with the current reveal that we've had so far.
Infiltrated the local kind of PDF forces or an Imperial Guard regiment, so players can still field that as well. I think there's some really interesting stuff in the book around that. We've got a little hobby section near the end showing you how you can kind of convert up your models to kind of show that they've kind of gradually taken over the Imperial Guard from the inside, which is super fun.
And a ton of options as well.
Yeah, and that's from the rules point of view, that's a really cool way of doing it as well, because a lot of the allies normally are a much smaller part of your force, whereas with this codex, what it's allowed us to do is up to half of your army can be in Astra Militarum units. So that really lets you customize your force. If you've wanted to design an Imperial Guard force, maybe it's not quite as loyal to the Emperor as they once were.
So that would be a really interesting army. I think that'd be really cool as its own unique faction. Very, very neat. I'm probably not going to have a lot of clips for this one, chat.
You can now do that to full effect.
Yeah, super fun.
So we've also got a brand new miniature to accompany.
People on Twitter are calling her Megamind because she's got a very big head. This is a very ridiculous model. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's very unique either, because I feel like I've seen this pose before. I think it's gross. I will say that.
The battle force. Can you tell us a bit about the Benefictus?
Yeah, the Benefictus. So the Genestealers are quite an interesting kind of thing in the sense that they kind of infiltrate other species' kind of life cycle.
Yeah.
And so some of them, the Genestealers, look very human and kind of like wander through society and no one really notices.
Right.
And as the cycle goes on, sometimes they kind of get these mutants and these other kind of things that appear. The Benefictus, I think, will definitely struggle to kind of stay consistent.
So, chat, I will say this. Even with that massive big brain of her and her psychic powers, if you did date this woman, she still wouldn't know what to pick when you guys went out to eat. All right, let's go.
An Imperial Society with his giant brain.
Yeah.
So he's a really, really fun new character. He's essentially like an anti-tank kind of. So he's a really, really fun new. Super fun.
So we've also got a.
I thought that this was a woman based off of... Okay. This is not a woman character. I thought this was a woman character because the face kind of reads feminine, and then like the boob plates there read feminine to me. But it's a he. All right.
Brand new minute.
I did make this mistake with a Demon Lord, Braxis. I thought she was a dude, and it turned out that she was a woman. So I got confused because of the old Demon Lord. The models look very, very similar, but she apparently is just on a big monster thing, and I guess she's been around for quite a while, but I did not know about her because I don't really play AOS, and my knowledge of Old World is very limited to certain factions. So let's get on with it.
Miniature to accompany the battle force. Can you tell us a bit about the Benefictus?
Yeah, the Benefictus. So the Genestealers are quite an interesting kind of thing in the sense that they kind of...
Does not Does that not look like boob plate, chat? Does not look like a boob plate? Does that not look kind of feminine? Just kind of the way that the face is soft, but I don't know. I'm probably going to get hate for this one too.
Infiltrate other species kind of life cycle.
Yeah.
And so some of them, the Genestealers, look very human and kind of like wander through society and no one really notices.
Right.
And as the cycle goes on, sometimes they kind of get these mutants and these other kind of things that appear. The Benefictus, I think, would definitely struggle to kind of stay concealed in
Yeah, I
Imperial
think so.
society with his giant brain.
Yeah.
So he's a really, really fun new character. He's essentially like an anti-tank kind of mental brain blasting kind of creature, isn't he? Is what he does.
Yeah, so I mean, he now has one of the strongest guns in the arsenal because he just mind blasts them, and so that's very good. It gives you a new option as a Genestealer cult player to tackle those either big monsters or big vehicles.
Yes.
And then what he also does, so he has sort of a dual role, he also gives the Unity joins lethal hits, which again is a great way of now a unit can try and tackle maybe one of those big tough units that it couldn't do before. So really that's how he synergizes into the army. He goes, okay, how can I crack big tough targets? The Benefictus is now opening up a brand new option for me.
It's just blasting up tanks with some.
I do like that it's a new. I will say this. I do like that it is a new psychic model that is powerful. It's something a little bit out of the box, different out of the box, but.
Psionic power.
Yes, yeah.
exactly. And it's one of those things where like the Genestealer stuff's quite mysterious, and these kind of mutants appear in the kind of Genestealer life cycle kind of when they're needed.
Yes.
And so no one's quite sure like how does that work? How do they know that now's the time to kind of deploy that particular type of character? So yeah, really fun new bit of background, fabulous new miniature, great new tool for the game,
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah. Chapter was a bit about the battle force as well, so tell us.
Yeah, so he's in that, which is great.
Of course, yeah.
And that battle force is actually themed off one of the detachments, isn't it?
Yeah, so again, we talked about one of the detachments is around the Aberrants and the Pure Strain Genestealers, and if you really want to do that like hard-hitting combat, this is a battle.
This thing's probably going to cost you an arm and a leg, chat, just to buy this detachment.
Force is built around that. So you get Aberrants in there, you get Pure Strain Genestealers, and you get some supporting units as well.
Okay, lovely. And finally, before we wrap up, tell us a little bit about some of your highlights, like from the Codex and the Battle Force box as well. I think I have a good idea what one of you might pick.
The big brain has to be the win for me. I mean, I think the miniature's so cool, and it's so iconic, really.
Again, for some reason, this reads like a woman to me, just because of how thin it is. The boob plates, certain angles of the face look feminine. I did not realize that this was a dude, but I do like it's got different arms. I do like that it can mind blast people. I wonder what else it can do. I do like the staff here. I do like all the shiny bits and the little Tyranid there. It's not a bad model. It's a little bit better than it's league better against the Sisters of Battle that we saw. Most of those just look stiff. They just look boring.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple for me. I think obviously the Benefictus is super cool. I think the games development team have done a great job of capturing the different ways of playing through the detachments. I really like the Brood Brothers detachment. I think it's really interesting, and I quite like the idea of a whole army that looks like a bit like an Imperial Guard.
That's what we all like. That's really cool. They've hinted since 8th edition about Traitor Legions coming back. Not Legions, Imperial Guard coming back, and then that just kind of got swept under the rug. A lot of stuff got swept underneath the rug in 8th edition. But I don't think now is the time to bring some of that stuff to light, just with how GW is going. That guy over there with his claw arm looks like he's trying to reach for like the last refreshment. But again, I don't really like the tactical rocks or the pointing hands, but these guys look nice. They look cool, especially this guy here. He survived a headshot that may have ricocheted off his helmet. He's got the weird tube thing going up his nose. Give him some battle stimulants. These guys are very cool, and it's a shame that these guys are stuck in a kill team box.
army, but actually
isn't.
isn't. Yeah, and I think that's really fun, and really pleased that we've been able to get some of the kind of conversion and hobby kind of tips in the book that kind of show people how they can do that with their miniatures.
Well, Stu, Josh, thank you ever so much for coming into the studio to chat to us a little bit about the Genestealer course. We can't wait for them to arrive really soon.
Alrighty, so that's going to wrap that part up for the people on YouTube. Again, this is kind of disappointing because the reveals aren't super long and they're just showing off one new model so far. Before we had the Sisters Battle, and it was just a new kind of elite option that you could take with a jump pack. Very, very stiff pose. This other model for the Genestealer cult wasn't too bad. I'm a little confused on why they called the model a him, just because in my eyes it does look like a woman model. It's got the boob plates, it's got some feminine features to it. Maybe it was a man and they redesigned it, I don't know. But anyway, the people over on YouTube, I will see you later. Bye bye.